What is up, Internet? Welcome to another edition of Functional Fitness Uncensored. We're excited to be here today, and today we are talking about protein bars.
Not just about protein bars. We're going to talk about what makes it a good protein bar
Correct.
and how to find one.
How to make good choices. Because if you go down any gas station aisle, protein bar aisle, you're going to see a plethora of protein bars that you can choose from. Should you choose a Cliff bar or an RX bar or a David bar or a Feel bar? Which one should you choose? So we're going to
I'm also going to say, some of this is what's in the grocery or in the gas station that you're at, because I have never run across a David bar.
I haven't. Not yet. I bet they will be, but they're not yet. But we're going to talk about them.
Okay.
We're really going to talk about our criteria because what we carry at Functional Fitness is we're very particular about what we carry, and we'll give you some of our criteria. And when we're looking at bars, when we're looking at even anything that we carry, what are some of the things we try to stay away from, and what are the things we try to do more of. So when we're thinking about protein bars, I think one of the first things that we need to look at is sugar content.
Ooh, okay, that's an interesting choice.
You thought I was going to say the amount of protein in it. That's what they all thought. But I was really big when you were zagging. So.
I didn't. That wasn't actually, to be honest, that was not where I would have started. But okay, cool.
I think it's a good one to look at because it's really easy to find. Right, you can see it on the label right away. And I don't think we're looking for zero here. We're not looking for zero sugar typically.
Well, let's be real. If it's zero sugar, there is no sugar in that bad boy, it's going to taste awful. Or if they don't put sugar in it, they have to put a lot of fat in it to make it taste really good. So it's either going to have sugar, some form of sugar. And remember, when we're talking about sugar, we're also, dates are going to be considered sugar. And
correct,
natural sweetener, good quality sweeteners are still going to be fall into sugar. But the other way to make a bar taste really good is to add fat, which avocado is just one that comes to mind right now. But that is also going to be very calorie dense. So you're also going to be looking at something higher calorie. And if you're using it as a snack and not as a meal, which most bars are only quantity calories for a snack, you want that to be, it needs to be reasonable there too. Okay, right. Continue. So we were looking at sugar.
So when we're looking at sugar, I personally like to stay around 6 grams. 6 to 7 grams is definitely where I would like to be. If it's more than 10, I'm usually putting it back pretty quick, unless I'm utilizing it for activity. So if I'm taking it on a mountain bike ride where I might be riding for a couple hours, right, then I may actually try and get something that's higher in sugar because I want it to be lower in fat, because I don't want a ton of fat because it takes longer to digest. And when you're on the go and you're exercising, you want things that are going to get into your system quickly. And so that's where that's why I really like Cliff bars. I'm a big fan of Cliff bars. For why they were created was for people that are doing activities, right? Cliff climbing, it all came out of the climbing industry where you're actually doing activity, but then it moves into this snack industry where now it's man, do I really need that much sugar right now for me to sit at my desk? Probably not, right? So there are some caveats around that, but for most bars, we're thinking less than 10 grams for sure. If it has more than 10, that's a good cutoff, right? It's an easy number to remember, and go from there. So sugars are usually number one that I look at, and really looking at added sugars too, because that's kind of right below sugars, because something may have dates in it, right? But dates aren't technically an added sugar, right? They're just going to be sugars, right? Added sugars are going to be your cane sugar, or your even I think maple syrup and that kind of stuff shows up as added sugars. And so it's good to just check that too. If added sugars are really high, there's probably a lot of just added stuff to it. High fructose corn syrup, blah, 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 blah. What's the next one you look at?
So it isn't just, to me, the amount of protein in a bar. So when I'm looking at a bar, I'm looking at how many calories in relationship to how many grams of protein. So I like the little, for every 100 calories something is for a snack, you should have 10 grams of protein. So if something's 100 calories, it should have 10 grams of protein. If it's 200 calories, it should have 20 grams of protein. When I'm looking at a bar, I'm looking for something like that. So if we take a 200 calorie bar, I want it to have about 20 grams of protein in it. To me, that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck. So that's where I'm looking first. So yes, Trevor said protein, but I don't like, it could advertise that it has 22 grams of protein in it. But if it has, 300 or more calories, I'm probably not getting my biggest bang for my buck in a protein bar. So, and I kind of look at that way for just snacks in general.
Right. And so just to kind of reiterate, so looking at calories and then also looking at protein, easy ratio to remember, 10 grams per 100, right? Easy to remember when we're looking at this stuff. Remember, these are all just kind of like, you're not going to look at things and it's going to be an exact. It's going to be like 200 calories and 20 grams of protein. These are all kind of like just.
So, like, ideas. For example, like very simple, I know the David bars that I actually just bought at the gym and we're doing sampling this week before we place order. So I'm really excited. Oh my God, that double chocolate magic thing like is my favorite. Okay. But this bar is great because I don't have to even do really hard math. It's 28 grams of protein and 150 calories. So I'm literally almost getting 15 grams of protein for 100 calories. Okay, I'm getting more than that. It's like 20. Right. It's like 20 grams. Like it's a lot of protein for what it is. Also, that means if I ate 2 of them, that's like a really good snack. That's like almost 60 grams of protein for like 300 calories. That's like freaking awesome.
Right.
Guys.
And so, I mean, that's something we're always looking for at Functional Fitness. And so we've carried these bars for a really long time. They're called Feel Bars. Really good ingredient list. About 7 grams of sugar, 15 grams of protein, little 190 grams of calories, clean stuff like dates and sunflower butter. And this is our vegan type protein bar. So there's no
I'm also just gonna
like that.
It's really allergen friendly as well, and I have quite a few clients in my gym that have peanut allergies, and they have or just other nut and tree nut allergies, and that basically has none of the major allergens in them, so they can have those bars. I like the texture of them. I think they're really good. I like some flavors better than others. But what I really do like is they have the David bars. To me, they're all really sweet. Those ones, the vanilla spice one and the turmeric one, they aren't a super sweet bar. So if you're someone that doesn't usually go for bars because they're really sweet, the Feel bars have some flavors that are just not super sweet bars, which I think is really appeasing for a wider demographic. And let's be real, David has a cake batter bar, and like I can't even bring myself to try it. I think I'm too old for cake batter at this point in my life.
So in the Feel bars too, they put some of these they call them functional ingredients. So this one has maca root in it. Some of them may have turmeric in it to help with inflammation. So they kind of add some other things to them. And it's definitely a different texture. This is a little bit more like I would call it like a foodie texture. Whereas so David was a bar that we just recently started carrying. They launched. I don't think they've been launched for more than a month. So we're really early in them, and like Ashley said, they have 28 grams of protein. You can see it at the bottom for 150 calories. So if we do that 10 to 100 ratio, right, we're basically doubled that. And these taste a little bit more. I like the texture of these.
It's got like a puffy rice in it.
Correct.
That's what I can't. Is that what it is? To be completely honest,
I think it's puffed way. I think it's the protein. So.
Okay, so I'm honestly going to say that this is the one very nice thing about having other people who know what you're looking for. When Trevor and Aaron said they were ordering these bars, I just ordered them and I didn't even read the ingredients because I knew I could trust them. I want you guys to know, that is a very uncommon thing for me.
So one thing too, if we're looking at true whole foods, this bar is kind of engineered to be a protein bar. Right, it's not going to have a lot of the Feel bar is going to have probably a little more whole foodie type feel, or the David bar is going to use things like allulose, which is a sugar alcohol that actually behaves a little bit differently than things like xylitol, which are common, or what's the other common one? Erythritol is another one that's super common, and so that's a sugar alcohol. It's not going to have calories. But some people are sensitive to sugar alcohol, so it's just paying attention to how you feel. And then they're using things like stevia, monk fruit together, and then a few other things. They use a whey protein concentrate. They also use collagen. So it has a milk system to it. So if you're trying to stay away from dairy, something like a Fuel Bar would be a better choice. Or if you're vegan, Fuel Bar is a better choice. David's going to use milk products and also has collagen, which is going to be an animal product. But I don't know. I've been super happy with it. They have 0 grams of sugar in it, and they still taste sweet. That's where the sugar alcohols come into play. So you're seeing a lot of protein bars move to sugar alcohols, but we found that allulose typically does better. Personally, for me, I feel different with allulose than I do with some of the other ones.
I have to be careful with them, and really, it's a quantity amount for me. So it doesn't have too many that it makes me feel sick, but I joked about having 2 of them. I couldn't probably eat 2 of them. One is enough. And I kind of feel like it's enough. It's like candy bar. It's like sweet enough to fulfill a candy bar craving. And the texture is good enough to be able to do that, which I really like.
And so, I mean, if we look at everything else from the David bar, so you got 2 grams of fat, which is like 20 calories, right? Less than 20 calories.
Yeah.
A couple grams of fiber, which is good, but it's basically protein. It's basically protein. Whereas your Fuel Bar is going to have 11 grams of fat, and it's going to have 5 grams of fiber, so a little bit more fiber, a little bit more fat, but now we're going to have less protein, 15 grams of protein, so about half. So, I mean, either can serve the purpose on what we're trying to accomplish. And to be honest though, if I'm out riding, if I'm out mountain biking or I'm out being really active, I'm probably not using either of these. I'm probably doing a Cliff Bar or something that has more carbohydrates in it, because I want in my system when I'm.
If I'm doing something, I'm even going to a gel or something that's made to just hyperdose. Or my favorite, the waffles. Oh my god.
The honey
if
waffles?
I'm really trying to, oh yeah, they're my favorite. They're the best thing to ever exist in the world. I wish I could just eat them all the time. So I'm doing something more like that.
But for people that want hey, I need that mid-afternoon, I want something, maybe I want something a little bit sweet, but I want to still kind of stay within what I'm trying to do, the David bars can be a great, it's going to satisfy your hunger for a little bit. It's not a lot of calories. It'll get you to the next meal without then getting into that next meal being super hungry. So we've been using it with a lot of clients as potentially an after dinner dessert, right? Hey, after dinner, I just really kind of want something sweet. Okay, cool. It works really well there. Also works really well as a mid-afternoon snack. And it also can work well in the morning. If you're on the go and you don't have time to make breakfast in the morning, right? Let's say you grab 2 of these. That's 60 grams of protein. When's the last time you had 60 grams of protein for breakfast? I should say it's 56 grams of protein. When's the last time you had 56 grams of protein for breakfast?
Most days, because that is my actual goal, is to have 50 grams of protein at breakfast. People,
if you wanted to get 56 grams of protein per eggs, that would be 8 eggs.
It is 8 eggs. That's what's so crazy. I was literally just talking to a client this morning about, she currently doesn't eat breakfast. And she's like, well, what do you think I should eat? I should eat eggs. I'm like, well, really, I love eggs. Don't get me wrong. I love eggs and I'm definitely eating them. But eggs alone are not enough protein for breakfast. And I mean, we could do a whole talk about how cereal is not a breakfast food, but eggs by themselves truly aren't either, because most people aren't consuming enough to make it worthwhile. And I think 3 or 4 eggs is good, but you have to add something to that to get a higher protein count. And really 20, 24 grams of protein at breakfast is probably really good. My protein goal is 140 grams. I know if I hit 60 grams in the morning, I'm pretty much crushing my whole day. Right. I know that if I set myself up, but that also means I eat ridiculous things I ate a hamburger patty with my breakfast this morning. Right. Or pot roast. Pot roast is a really great leftover to go with your eggs. If you guys ever need it, it's one of my favorites. And you can get some carrots in there too. And then you get a veggie with your breakfast. That's how I would eat it. But breakfast is a really can be a really challenging place to get a good amount of protein, because most breakfast foods aren't protein promoting.
We're going to dedicate a whole episode to protein at breakfast, because then we can really talk in depth about it. So
yeah,
if you are local to Redwood, grab some David bars. If you're not local,
or if you're local to me, you can come in and you can taste test them, or you can place an order with me and I can get you what flavor you want, because we will be placing an order probably next week.
So yeah, let us know. We carry that stuff in-house, David bars and Field bars. And we have another one called Stars and Honey. I don't have any here. But that's, again, kind of a good intermediate bar, I would say, between these two. So lots of flavors to choose from. Great things to throw in gym bags. Great things to give kids for if they're on the road and traveling and that kind of stuff where they need some protein. So, if we can help.
Awesome. All right, guys. See you later.
Yeah.